Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli, and tonight my guests are, first up, he's the Pee Wee Herman of ABW. It's Danny the GFP. Hello, Danny.
Oh, Governor, happy birthday, my sweet.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful. I spent most of the day in bed, got really, really drunk in the evening. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's living the fucking life.
It was a thing of beauty from start to finish.
All your needs are special.
I know. Enough now. Next up, he's Rolf Harris's less offenderish uncle. It's Aussie Dom. Hello, Dom.
Allegedly.
Oh, no, it was never proven.
That's right.
That's good. And I hear you have all the latest injury news and updates for us later on in the show.
Yeah, there's a few little tidbits that we can go through, which should be good.
Because people are crying out for it.
They are. They love it. They're like a meth addict on a light bulb.
Exactly. Domism there. Patent that. Right. Next up, some say he's the next Callum Chambers, but after seeing pictures of him at the weekend, he can only be described as scarecrowic. Carpenter out! They cry from the sidelines. It's Kris Carpenter.
Good morning.
Hello, Kris.
Good morning, good evening, good night.
That's the longest intro of the season so far. Not even Matt Lucas got an intro like that.
I like the word scarecrowic. Can we copyright that?
Yes. I used to have a 7-a-side or 6-a-side team called AFC Scarecrowic.
I like that. I'm happy with that.
That's because the rest of them were all fat tubs of shite.
You had to go and ruin it, didn't you?
I did indeed. Should we go to the other one then?
Please.
Okay. Some say we've saved the best until last, but we have to introduce him at some point. It's Jason Davies. Hello, Jason.
Hello.
How do?
Not too bad. You right?
Yeah, not too bad. Have you had an enjoyable week?
I did earlier on, yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
When I spoiled your intro, that was brilliant.
You're such a tit.
I know.
Oh, my word.
I am brought sofas up. Okay, I am brought sofas up.
In all fairness, if you bring sofas up, you'll just hear the fucking headset be chucked down on the laptop and then a car screeching off outside. It will be.
I saw some tweet the other day aimed at Benson's beds, and I thought, oh, God.
Do you know what I tweeted them? Good job, Benson's for beds. Don't sleep on the job. Otherwise, it'd be difficult to imagine cunt on a memory foam mattress.
Funny enough, after reading that, I went onto Facebook, and two of my friends are having problems with SCS and sofas. I thought, oh, Jesus. Switch off all social media for the next 2 hours.
Yes.
I'll be... Hey, yeah.
So. We'll start as ever then with a roundup of all the latest Arsenal scores from across the board.
Yes. I don't know where I was going with that. Here we go. Arsenal under-18s lost 3-0 at home to Fulham. Nothing else to say, apart from they wore a jaunty yellow number. So that's that one done. This is all from George Bird's site. So cheers, George, as always. All year, you've been very helpful. The next one was we were at home again in the under-21 league, and we got smacked 3-1 by Bolton. And Irish legend Stephen O'Connor, who made his debut in the Champions League, to be sure, he scored our goal. That's it. There is nothing else to talk about.
That's it. And I think we should go over to Kris for... Is this going to be the final Pirates review of the year?
If you exclude friendlies, we've got one friendly this Sunday, then we're done for the year. So technically, yes.
I think it would probably fair just to underline it by saying you've lost.
Well, yeah. We've actually got. Shut up, Davies. Guys, like listen to a fucking chipmunk.
It's like sadomasochism every time they turn up.
Is he still talking?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. We've got this weekend. We played away at Revel Stoke Rangers, who were top of the league and unbeaten. That record continued. They did beat us, but we made them work hard for it. We lost 2-0. But they're a very good side. In fairness, we'll move onwards and upwards. We've got a cup quarter-final in January to look forward to, which is going to be played under floodlights. Exciting times.
A cup quarter-final?
Yep.
I didn't know you won a cup game.
Having someone with a wind-up torch on the halfway line does not count as a floodlight.
And we're playing at a ground called Elberton FC, which is friend of a friend who's the corporate manager of them. He's managed to get the pitch for us. So we're going to play under floodlights against Wembley Rovers. So that's our first game back in the new year.
I bet you half of your players think they're drunk, wouldn't they?
quite possibly. Even the illustrious manager had to get 10 minutes at the weekend because we lost a player in the warm up because of injury. And
I did see a picture of you with your arse stuck to the goalpost.
Oh yes, I was holding up the goal just in case it fell over.
I'm a little teapot.
I made a brilliant last-ditch tackle, though. You'd have been proud, Gim. It was a proper... I was either getting sent off or I was chopping the guy in half, and I took the latter along with the ball, so it was all good.
Did you take the red card for it as well?
No, I got the ball cleanly. It was one of those tackles that was so good that I actually managed to tackle the ball away. Last-ditch challenge. I was the only one running back, and I clipped it against him, so it went out for a goal kick. Genius.
Kris, you've been playing FIFA again.
Yeah, sorry. No, that was the goal.
Either that or he's been paying the referee in kind.
Scored in training tonight as well. Tell you, on the up.
Fluke.
Yep.
So next on the agenda is our 4-1 home win to Newcastle United. Jace, we'll start with you for your thoughts on this game, please.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. After the Galatasaray win, we showed a bit of spirit there, finally. Going into it, kind of thought we'd do well, but we played with a real purpose. Ollie Giroud, 2 great finishes. His movement to get into the box for the first goal was superb. You know, he timed that run beautifully. Great cross coming in. Santi Cazorla's finish. It's funny enough, we've been talking about him earlier. I'm just saying, I was saying rather how poor his return is for his talent. And fair play, that finish for his goal was superb. And then the cheeky little penalty, fantastic. We didn't look troubled at any point in the game. Their goal, great free kick, can't do anything about that. Debussy at centre-half was my man of the match by a mile. He did everything that was expected of him, or that was asked of him rather, more than was expected in my eyes. But we just looked comfortable. We looked there's a real response to what had happened at Stoke, and the aftermath of that. And I thought, the players stood up and played for the manager. Lovely to hear the manager's name sung. After all the grief he had, it was excellent. So yeah, really happy. A good display and an enjoyable win.
And we'll simmer some of the points you made down there and go over to Kris. Now, Kris, Cazorla, he kind of looks back to his best, doesn't he? What do you think he's changed in his game to get the return to form?
I think a lot of it is position where he's playing. He's kind of one of those players that I think needs to be played in the right position, much like Mesut Ozil, to get the best out of him. Seems to be playing with a bit of a freedom and a bit of confidence about his game again, which is nice to see. I think there's also that element of extra responsibility that's been placed on him, playing in the kind of almost a central role now, whether it be sort of central midfield or just off the front men. He seems to have that responsibility to make sure that the attacks go through him, that he's got the opportunity to get on the ball, get his head up and do what he does best. The goal that he scored in particular, sort of the penalty we come to, but the goal that he took, he's just got such wonderful feet. He's one of those footballers that you could just watch for hours, and playing in that role in the middle of the park, sort of behind the front men, gives him that opportunity and that license almost to drift from side to side and get on the ball and use those clever feet. And because he is 2-footed, you never quite know which way he's going to go, and that sort of puts the opposition on the back foot at all times. And the goal that he scored, brilliant to stay on his feet because he could easily have gone down. And the penalty, that just sort of underlines his confidence. He stepped up at Stoke and put that penalty away. Then he, of course, he disrespected, according to Richard Keys, what a mong, the Newcastle goalkeeper with that penalty. I don't think it's disrespect at all. If Pirlo does it, it's genius, and if Santi does it, somehow it's disrespectful. But
when Dwight York did it, apparently it was somebody on the top of his game, isn't it?
I think it's it's from our perspective, it's a penalty to us. And if he felt that he could beat the goalkeeper, who's, let's not forget, he was a third choice young goalkeeper playing only his second ever game. And let's not forget as well, we were 3-1 up. If you're ever going to try that sort of penalty, that's the time to do it. Thierry Henry scored one against Leeds all those years ago. I think we were 4 up at the time when he knocked that one in. So if you're confident enough and you back your ability, do it. Obviously, if he'd have stood there and caught it, it would have looked a bit silly. But it was just so lovely watching that little clip and a little dink. Love it.
And we'll also pick another one of JC's points and go to Dom. Mathieu Debuchy. Dom, he played in the centre of defence and he did a pretty good job, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He didn't probably get tested all that much, to be honest, though, did he? I mean, Newcastle didn't really offer that much going forward, but every time he was called into action, he usually made the right decision, which is a big part of that defending, isn't it? The decision-making going from right back to centre-back, so the pairing of him and Mertesacker seemed to work quite well. So I don't know, what do you guys think about this weekend coming up where Chambers is going to be back in the team? So there's an option of either having Debuchy or Chambers as the other centre-back. What do you reckon, Danny?
Well, that's going to be something that is going to wind all of us up. It's probably going to be someone we don't want to be playing there. So you're giving me the option of either Chambers or Debuchy. I think I'm going to go Debuchy. As much as I think that is going to be Chambers' long-term position, but when I think he's played there once or twice for us, and it's not been overly brilliant. I mean, he's not been horrendous. He's a young player. He can go out there and do whatever he wants for all I care, because it's just at that stage of his career, it's the experience that is going to make him the player that we will hopefully be in the future. It's just great to see a young Englishman doing so well and being able to cover so many positions, but I think I would go with Debuchy.
But let's not forget Bellerin as well, who, I mean, let's be fair, against Newcastle, had a pretty solid game. I thought he was pretty fantastic. What did you make of his performance, Kris?
He's very good. There was the stat that came out recently that he was dubbed the fastest player at the club, which is saying something when you've got a team that includes Theo Walcott on its roster, so to speak. But he looked very good. I think the thing that a lot of people have missed out with his performance at Newcastle is not only did he play extremely well, there was that little sort of winding run, and I think he was credited with the assist that led to Giroud's second goal from the cross as well. It was the strength of character is what I really like about the lad. This is a guy that's come in for a game against Stoke and let's be honest, got absolutely murdered. He's been taken off at half time. That would finish Leicester players. I think we all remember what happened to Abue when he got booed off that time, and the confidence of a player can be really fragile, especially a young player. And when Hector Bellerin was taken off, I did fear the worst. I thought, is that the last we're going to see of him for a while? And could he end up sort of going the Carl Jenkinson route and being off on loan in January? But credit to him, he came in against Newcastle. He looked solid. We know how good he is going forward. I think that's sort of pretty much been seen every time he's put on the shirt already. But I liked him going the other way. He was strong in a tackle. He stands up well, which is in a fullback. You always look for a fullback to not go to ground too often unless they know they can win the ball. Speaking from poor experience, if you know you can win the ball with a slide challenge, that's all well and good. But he does stand up and he does send the attackers wide, which is always a good sign in a fullback. And let's be honest, if you look at what we've got in that area, Kieran Gibbs, Debuchy, they're both attacking fullbacks, as is Monreal. So I think he'll fit in quite well, and maybe even play slightly further forward in the long run. Could probably see us trying the old wing back system if that ever comes into vogue again.
And while we're talking up player performances, I also feel we should give some time to praise Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who again was absolutely fantastic. He's playing out of his skin at the moment, isn't he, Dom?
Yeah, he is. I think a full pre-season. I know he's had a little bit of an injury interrupted start to his career at Arsenal, and for a young guy like that, the only thing that's gonna kick him onto that next level is minutes on the pitch. And I think he's just one of those guys that just really, really, you get the most out of him by just letting him play his own game and chucking him in that central midfield role at the moment. He's got a little bit more freedom. He's not stuck out on the side on the wing. And I think the best game that I've seen him play, other than recently, was against AC Milan in that Champions League match where he played in the centre of the midfield there. And he was just he's just got so much energy. It's really, and he's really strong on the ball. So he's got that physique that I think could definitely play that type of position long term. but he's just got so much more to his game, I think. He's got a good final ball. He's got a good shot on him as well, which is probably gets a few more opportunities from that central role than being stuck out wide. So, yeah, I mean, he's got a little bit of an injury cloud at the moment, which is a little bit worrying, considering if he's not available for Saturday, we don't really have that much. We don't really have anything in reserve. So, fingers crossed that he pulls up and he can keep his run of form going.
And there's been a lot of talk. Pardon me, sorry. There's been a lot of talk over where his best position is. Danny, where does his best position lie for you?
Maybe a slightly more attacking central midfielder, or even the Bergkamp hole. I'm just watching the highlights of the game on Arsenal Player at the moment, and I think, yeah, we were saying he's having a hell of a game, hell of a season, and I'm just worried that when all of our players come back, which they are, Ozil's on his way back. I think it's beginning of January. He's going to be back. Same with Walcott. He's going to be back maybe for the Liverpool game. Then you know for a fact that because the Ox can play in so many positions, that he's going to be the first one dropped. And it almost makes me think, well, what do you have to do to be able to... I mean, we don't know yet. I'm just talking with pre-hindsight. Hey, just made that up. Yeah. What will he have to do to be able to then, Wenger to go, nah, sorry everyone else is coming back. The Ox has been so damn good, so reliable, so everywhere, that we're not going to drop him. Like with Welbeck, it's just... I think with the game, the Newcastle game, that it showed every aspect of what has been Arsenal over the last few years. We scored goals that maybe we shouldn't have done, like when Santi went through for 2-0, that he could have gone down for a penalty, but he carried on going. But then you look at the other way, Welbeck was in a similar position. He could have gone down looking for a penalty, but he didn't, and he managed to toe punt it into the back of the net whilst unbalanced, and it wasn't a foul because their defender fell over. So I think this whole game showed how much luck and bad luck we can have, but luckily it was all in one game for all of us. And I think that people like the Ox, and I think people like Welbeck, now when all the other players come back, they may be not getting as many games as they were before, which will be a bit of a shame, because I think those two have been given the kind of the passion and the never giving up and the running everywhere, and just be a nightmare to play against.
Yeah, and one of the new players that are fresh back into the fold from injury is Olivier Giroud. Jace, he scored a brace in this game, and it was just a fantastic leap. Anyone that saw Danny Welbeck's leap for his header against West Brom and was just talking that up needs to have a look at Giroud's header and how far he got off the ground. It was phenomenal, wasn't it?
To be fair to him, he's given a pass from midfield. One of the criticisms I had of him last year, he'd make a great pass and he'd just stand there. He wouldn't make a run to the box. He timed the run perfectly. The cross was put in was superb, and he timed his leap to perfection and just buried it. After the miss last week and a petulant performance, to come back and score that was superb. 5 minutes later, though, he got bullied off the ball, and he just lay on the ground, waiting again for the referee to do something. I think he felt it was stupid after that, because you didn't see him do that for the rest of the game. It's one of the things he's got to cut out of his game. But his finish for the second goal was just sublime. It was, outside the boot. It was just a fantastic finish. I am chuffed for him in a way. I think the addition of Welbeck to the squad has put the competition in place. He knows he has to perform. Because although Welbeck's not the finished article yet, he's done quite well. Nobody would have thought he'd have done as well for us as he has. Well, not many would have. I didn't think he would. But Welbeck's done well coming to this side. He's put in some great performances. His work ethic is top notch, and I think Giroud is looking at thinking, I've got a battle on my hands for that spot, and he did really well. It was nice to see two guys who aren't almost consistent at times, but do perform, really come up with good performances against what could have been a tricky tie, bearing in mind Newcastle beat Chelsea the week before.
And how would you manage Giroud and Welbeck together in the team? I mean, do you think that there's a spot in that team for both of them, or do you think that they'll work on a rotational basis?
I think it's horses for courses. Depends who we're playing. Depends, who's fit at the moment as well. We can't ignore the injury side of it. But I like competition for places. I want to see them fight it out. I want to really see them, go for each other, go for that spot, earn the right to play that position, and it'll make them better players. They're both talented guys. Welbeck's got work ethic you just can't buy, and Giroud's seen this, and I think, against Galatasaray after the Stoke game, we saw reaction. I know Giroud wasn't playing, but we saw reaction from the team, and that carried on against Newcastle, and it was good to see. These guys have taken a bit of responsibility on their shoulders, and they decided, with all the pantomime actions that's been going on with certain supporters and what have you, they've decided, right, we're going to answer back on the pitch. So a bit of competition will not do us any harm. And, it was a good performance. You can't ask for more than 4-1, can you? You can't ask for more than that.
And who wants to take this week's Alexis watch?
Well, going by the silence, I think I might have to have a go unless anyone else wants. I've got the stats. I could do the stats and then someone else could tell me.
Do it.
On, Danny.
Okay, right. He got a 9.1. He got man of the match, unsurprisingly. Pass accuracy, 84%. Aerial possession, 100%. Touches, 88. I mean, that's more than most teams manage in a bloody game as it is. 1 foul, 5 shots on goals, 2 dribbles, 3 tackles, rating of 9.1, which for him I think was one of his best ratings of the season. And it just shows if you keep confidence with a player and you keep playing him and he scores a couple of goals, just like lovely old Aaron. It's just leave them to get on with it, and they shine for us.
Do you think the rest had done him good?
Yes, I definitely, yeah. Plus the slight move in position, because I think it was all Sanchez all season. It's all been him scoring the goals, and I think there's been an almost a blatant change of tactics at times, where to take the pressure off of I just keep looking at Cthulhu's name and I have to look away, to take the pressure off of Sanchez. They're now getting other players and letting them get further up and do a little bit more attacking, maybe only every now and then, but I think it's taking the pressure off of Sanchez, and players like Santi and Ramsey are flourishing with it.
Yeah, but Danny, don't you think that maybe Sanchez is now really fitting in with the team, whereas it's been an individual thing so far for a lot of the time?
Yeah, that could well be it. Yeah,
it looked to me. I thought we played some beautiful stuff on Saturday. We played some beautiful, beautiful football, and he just seemed more comfortable. I don't know if I'm right in saying that, but to me, he just really seemed to. Everybody seemed to click, and maybe that happened Wednesday as well.
He's 25 today, so happy birthday, Alexis.
Happy birthday, Alexis.
I'm sure he's listening.
And do you know who else's birthday it is today?
David Hilliers.
The two-footed tackler himself.
Is it really?
He's 44,
he's 44
years
today.
old.
Happy birthday, David Hillier.
Not that
Happy
he fucking
birthday,
listens.
Dave.
I'm surprised I remember it's his birthday.
Title winner.
And the thing is with Alexis, 25 today, if we play our cards right, we're going to have the very best of the peak of his career for the next 4 or 5 years. So think about that.
That's
Decade
scary.
of Sanchez.
Yeah, it is scary.
He
is
plays
scary.
like a man of more years and experience.
He does.
Definitely so. I'll go to Dom next, and we'll call this the last question for this segment. Dom, we've scored 4 now for the second game in a row. Is it too early to get our hopes up, or are we starting to get a little bit of a run of games going?
Well, hopefully we're starting to get a run of games going. We started to get that just before the Stoke game, and that's probably the biggest disappointment for me, was that they kind of lost that momentum in that game. I thought that we'd played quite well against the West Broms in those games earlier, even though and Southampton, we only scored 1 goal in those games. But we were creating a lot of chances. We just weren't quite finishing them off. And like you said, the last two games in a row, scoring 4 goals in each game, I think a little bit of confidence in front of goals back again, which is nice. And Giroud has hit some form coming back from a pretty severe, lengthy injury. So hats off to him for getting back into some good form so quickly, which is really nice to see. So we got Liverpool this weekend, and I think this is, even though they haven't been all that great, that they're going to get up for a game against us at home, especially considering what happened away last year. So it's a bit more of a test this week to see how the players perform, but we've had a good 9-day rest, so hopefully everyone's nice and fresh and ready to go. But just fingers crossed we don't get we don't put in a Stoke-like performance early on.
Definitely so. With that said, then we'll move on. And our next segment sees us talk about Monday's Champions League draw. As all of you will know, we got drawn against Monaco. So, Kris, I understand you know a little bit about Monaco. Has the draw treated us well this year?
I think overall it has. If you look at what we could have got, there's kind of a for and against argument. Some people will say, well, it would be typically Arsenal to play against a side that are a quote unquote lesser side, and we should beat. Let's not bring up Anderlecht on that one. But at the same time, avoiding Real Madrid, avoiding these big guns, Bayern Munich, yeah, it's a good thing, and it gives us a real opportunity to progress.
Chris, it's a fucking great draw. It's a fucking epic draw. Them or Porto, okay? I don't give a shit about the rest of them. Bayern Munich, Barcelona, we've missed out all those idiots. Happy days. It's a great draw. Come on.
It's a great draw given what we could have got, but what I would say is just have a little bit of caution in that the last thing that we need to be doing at this stage, particularly with the team, we realistically, we've played well maybe 3 times this season. If we don't turn up as the Arsenal that we can be and should be, Monaco will beat us. I've got a couple of little bits and bobs of information that I'll share with the listeners. League One is something I watch quite a lot of, and I've watched Monaco 9 times this season, including last night actually. Currently they're 6th in League One, which is the French league. They're 9 points off the leaders Marseille. They've collected 4 wins in 18 away in the Champions League, so that would suggest they're not particularly good on the road. However, at home they've only suffered 3 defeats in 18, so it's not bad. And 6 of their last 9 at home, they haven't conceded a goal. So for all of their faults at the Stade Louis II Stadium, which is not the nicest of stadiums with a car park underneath it, they are quite good at home. There's a stat that's been bobbling around, which people probably will have seen. They got out of Group C, top in the group. They won 3, drew 2, lost 1. They scored only 4 goals, but they only conceded 1. I think it's the lowest lowest achievement goal scoring wise of any team. And as far as sort of in the French league this year, they've had 8 wins, 5 draws, 5 defeats. Interestingly, they've lost at home to Lorient and Nice, which are 2 of the lesser sides in the top divisions. That would sort of suggest that they tend to take their eye off the ball a little bit as far as the lesser games go. They've scored 22, conceded 18. Their top scorer is Dimitar Berbatov, bless him, with 5. So it's not a particularly high scoring sort of side. Couple of players though that we'll look out for. They've got a lad called Yannick Ferreira Carrasco, who's a Belgian under 21 international. He kind of plays just off the front man. He's got a bit of a license to roam. He's kind of their Ozil, a little bit more pace, probably more of their Sanchez actually is better description. They've also got Anthony Martial, who's a striker, who's kind of a young Nicolas Anelka-esque. Jeffrey Kondogbia, who I'm sure a lot of people have heard that name a few times, linked with us. There's a lad at left back, Levin Kurzawa, who's been linked with Man City, who's decent as well as João Moutinho, who people will know a little bit about. They do also, though, have Carvalho, as in ex of Chelsea, who I believe is about 36 now, 37. When he's played, he's looked, well, decidedly average. And do you remember Lachina Traore? Yes. He's actually still there as well, gets the odd game here and there. I mean, he will pose a threat in the air, even against Mertesacker. The guy is 6'7" odd. So particularly with how we dealt with Peter Crouch, we'll need to be very careful how we handle him. The one thing I would say, they've got a couple of weak links. Abdenor, who's one of their centre-backs, they brought him from Toulouse at the start of the season, has had an absolute mare, and he's one of their marquee signings. We've mentioned before that they're a side that generally will sit deep. They'll look to counter-attack. They play the 4-2-3-1 system that we played last year, which essentially means they've got the 2 holding players, and they use their fullbacks pushed on, which will probably suit us, to be fair. They've also got these quick wingers, Ferreira Carrasco that I mentioned. They've also got a lad called Lucas Campos who will attack sort of down the flanks, and they tend to cut inside as well. So they will pose us threats. I'll just give you 2 other quick stats. They've lost only 1 of their 6 European home games against English sides. Obviously, this is going back throughout the Champions League era. But a stat that will hold in our favour is that Arsenal have never lost away to a French side in European competition.
How about this one, Chris?
Go on.
Before the current 6 group games, the last time they played in the Champions League, 3 ex-Arsenal players played for them. 2005. Anyone want to guess at this?
Cool.
That'd be all.
Hey!
Mm-hmm. Yep.
sounds like he should be in America with Deboichi.
Your Boichi.
Gee, crikey, that's quite a question. What year was that, Danny?
2005. That's the last time they were in the Champions League. 23rd of August 2005. That is their last time in the Champions League before this current run.
Ooh, okay.
He's right up there with Pascal Sigan.
I don't think anyone's that bad, surely.
He sounds American.
Oh, and ex Arsenal players.
There's three of them. Come on, you
Squillaci.
And the other one's a bit of a trick one because he's the goalkeeper who we got but never played for us.
Not Shaban. No.
You're not going to get it because I wouldn't get it.
Go on.
Warren Muz.
Oh, Guillaume Vormus. Yes,
Yeah,
he did play for us.
He didn't play a game though.
Did he not?
No, we got him from Lens because we had no goalkeeper on. But then they had Deschamps as manager. And
Yep.
they had Patrice Evra at the back and Mason currently at Roma. That's how long ago. That's the kind of heritage Monaco have, which is my point.
They beat Chelsea back in, I think it's 2000, the same season, 2004-05. I mean, like Jason said, if the right Arsenal that we know turn up, then yes, it is a favourable draw. What I would say is that it's the Champions League. You know, you never know who you're going to get. I think Dom made this point in the week. It's very difficult to talk too much at this stage, other than to say yes, it is a favourable draw. But a lot can change between now and then. You know, if we're on a run and we're pulling up trees, then I would comfortably expect us to beat them. What I would say is, Danny, do you have any idea? Are we home or away in the first game?
I have my little list
We're
here.
home in the first game.
Home in the first game. So what I would say is, based upon what Monaco's...
That wasn't me, that was Jason, in case anyone gets mixed up.
Indeed. What I would say is Monaco's defensive. Obviously, defensively they're extremely good. No coincidence that they've dropped Abdenor since they've become more defensive and more tight at the back. But if we're the downside to playing at home first is that you've got to go out and you've got to make an impression. And where we've seen over the years, generally Arsenal tend to do well is when they're going into the second leg knowing what they've got to do. Now, that doesn't always ring true if you remember Man United in the horrible night a few years back, but generally I prefer us going into the home game knowing that we've got to score once, twice, whatever. So what I would say is we need to make sure that ideally we don't concede, because if they get an away goal, they will play on that, obviously, unless they're 4-1 down or something ridiculous. And I think we need to make sure that we get a goal when we go away from home. But if we turn up and we play to our expectations that we can do, we'll do all right. But Monaco are no mugs, and people should remember that they did come out of a group that had Leverkusen, Zenit St. Petersburg and Benfica, who, whilst they're all not particularly brilliant sides, they're probably better than Galatasaray and Anderlecht.
And also, you've got to remember the transfer window's coming up soon, and their owner, who played a little bit of football, football management with real players, has gone, no, I don't fancy it anymore.
Rybolovlev.
So any decent players they've got could half expect to piss off in the transfer window.
There's two that are likely to move on. There's Kurzawa that I mentioned that Man City are eyeing up, as well as Inter and Bayern Munich, and having a look at him. Ferreira Carrasco is banging form, and he's young, and he's one of this new Belgian sort of golden generation. He could be one to look at. To be honest, I'd be very surprised. Kondogbia, people talk about him moving on, but the thing with Monaco is that, as you said, since Rybolovlev has kind of just said, not really so keen on this anymore, there's every chance that if a big bid comes in, somebody could move on.
I reckon at least 2 or 3 of their players could go.
Wind back a second. What did you say his name was? You sounded like one of Bill and Ben, the flower pot man.
Rybolovlev.
Rybolovlev.
I would be like you, Danny. I mean, did you say you'd be surprised to see Eddie moved on, or?
I thought Gimli was going to bring up the name King Kong Dongbia, but I think we'll leave that one. But he didn't. Tula Lun has done fuck all there. He can't be too happy. And you got João Mantinha costing 25 million euros. He's another one, but he's actually been linked to us because I think he'll have to get his hair cut and not wear shoes at the medical, so he'll be under 5'4".
Didn't he have like a deal to Tottenham go through right at the very last minute and it failed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the terms were agreed and everything was agreed, and I think they went with Loris at the same time because they thought they were getting the pair and it didn't work out. But Moutinho he's slowly coming back into form. I mean, Monaco have won 5 on the spin. They beat Lyon in the Coupe de la Ligue last night on penalties. And they're one of those sides. They're a little bit streaky. There's never seems to be any consistency. They'll go on a run like this, and then they'll drop a bollock away at Cannes or Nice or whomever. So a lot of it depends on momentum. But
Oh,
again,
come on! If we don't beat these guys, okay,
we'll
we don't
beat
deserve to
them.
be there.
We will
You
beat
know?
them.
I think we will be.
It is the knockout stages of Champions League. Fine, no problem, and upsets do happen. But seriously now, this squad has to pick its arse up and really go for it now from here on in. We've let ourselves down beginning part of the season, and now we need to go for it. No more excuses, no more pissing about, okay? This isn't Bayern Munich, it's not Barcelona, it's not Real fucking Madrid, it's bastard Monaco and 300 fans, okay?
And then we'll get Basel or Porto in the next round. And semi-final, here we come.
That's the thing. I mean, if you look at the way the draw's mapped out, we've got every opportunity to go on a run. And let's not also forget that okay, yes, Bayern Munich. I mean, Real Madrid will absolutely destroy Schalke. I've got no doubt about that. Bayern Munich, I think, will comfortably go through against Shakhtar.
Well, I've heard a rumour that Jason's got his Welsh Justice bat and he's found out where Switzerland is and he's going to go and fuck UEFA up if we don't get Basel or Porto in the next round. Ain't you, Jason?
Hey, Sepp Blatter won't just be a name, it'll be a state of mind.
It'll be Sepp Splatter.
Yes,
Sepp
exactly.
Jason is right to a degree. I mean, it's just me with my European
I'm
hat.
always right.
Just saying.
Boys,
We'll go that far.
We've got the prime draw, okay?
Definitely.
It's the prime draw. If somebody had turned around to you before the draw and said you can have Monaco, you'd have bitten their fucking hand off, okay? And it's about time we stop pissing and moaning about the Arsenal and start getting behind them and really, go for this. And these boys need to understand they've got a hell of an opportunity here. You can be in the semi-finals before you know it, as long as you turn up and you do a professional job and really go for them.
And anything can happen.
And when you're in the semi-finals, boys, you know what it's like, okay? Anything can happen.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
So-
I'll tell you right now what's going to happen, Jace.
Go on, son.
Monaco are going to turn up. They're going to park the bus. We're going to have 70% possession. They're going to have 3 shots at goal and probably score 3.
That's my concern.
And it can happen because you look at a Wigan in the semi-final of the FA Cup. You look at what's that?
Not with Dimitar Berbatov up front. They're not going to...
Oh, Jace.
Oh, we'll
be careful.
score an own goal.
Be careful.
We'll do something stupid.
Boys.
Chesney will let one in through his legs. It can happen, and we've seen it happen with Arsenal before, which is why I'm just not getting too excited just yet. And I hope the players... Jace, I hope the players actually go, you know what? I don't give a shit that it's Monaco. I don't care that we're supposed to win. We need to go out there and be switched on and not think, oh yeah, we can just keep bombing forward because we're going to have all the ball and get stung on the counter and be naive. That's the concern. I'm not saying we shouldn't be. I'm not saying that we're not. That it's going to be closer than it should be or anything. I'm more worried about the state of mind of the players because history would say in a big game, regardless of what the opponent is, we were 2-0 down against Hull in the FA Cup final before 10 minutes had even been played.
Yeah, but 2 weeks ago, we just got spanked at Stoke, okay?
Exactly, so it can happen.
Regardless of referees and other challenges, they played bloody well against us, okay? They outplayed us for large parts of that game. I don't think there's any chance at this moment in time of these boys getting their heads up their asses because their form doesn't dictate that they can stick their heads up their asses for this. They've got to take it seriously.
I absolutely agree, but they have done it.
Yeah, no, I don't think we've done it. I think we've just been outplayed at times. But, we've got to be positive going into this tie and say, right, let's earn the right, let's win it. You win 2-0, 3-0 at home. It's Monaco aren't going to turn that over at theirs. They're not.
I honestly think it will be a lot harder to score 2 or 3 against them than you think. They will sit back and absolutely park the bus. And we've struggled before. Southampton and West Brom are 2 very, very, similar, probably standard teams. Maybe Southampton more so. And they did an extremely good job of being defensively minded, which is exactly what Monaco are good at doing. They conceded 1 goal in all of their group games. Like Kris said, granted it wasn't against the toughest teams going around, but it just shows that if you are switched on defensively as a team and you work together as a team defensively, it is hard. Even Barcelona struggle to break teams down sometimes.
Yeah.
So we will have 70% possession. We'll have a shitload of shots on goal. We just need that early goal. We need that first chance and we need to score that first one, and then they can't just sit back. They need to actually...
If that first run goes in, okay, it's happy days. Boys, none of us have got a crystal ball, okay? But to my mind, you've got to be positive going into these games, and you've really got to be up for them.
Jace, do you want to come down to Pound Shop with me and we'll go halves on some party poppers because I'm with you on this?
Yeah, well, let's rock, son. I'll
Yeah,
buy
let's
them all.
do it. We'll send
buy
them
them
all
all.
off at these doom mongers when we beat
No,
them
no,
5-0.
no. I'm not dom mongering. I've just created something else there. I'm not doom mongering at all.
Have you got
I'm
a
just
problem there with you?
I'm just saying that I agree with Dom. I'm one of the most positive people around as far as the club goes. I always look at things in a positive light. All I'm saying is that at this stage of a tournament, when you look at all the team, there are no bad teams at this stage. Monaco are not a bad team.
Liverpool are out now.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and Spurs never got in. But at the same time, like Dom says, if anyone thinks that Monaco are going to turn up at the Emirates and do a Real Madrid and pass the ball from side to side or do a Dortmund and outplay us, you're completely mistaken. They will come and they'll play 2 lines of 4, if not a line of 4 and a line of 6. They'll sit behind the ball, and if we beat Monaco at home by more than 2 goals, I'll be very surprised. But I do think over the tie, yes, I do think we'll get through it, but I don't think it will be easy at all.
No. We'll draw a line under that then. And we'll move on to our next segment. Seeing as we've got Dom here with us, we thought it only fair to pick his brain and get all the injury updates that we can. So, Dom, I've got a list here of players and injuries.
We're going to be here till next week.
Yeah, probably will be. There's about 10 of them. Can you just give us a little analysis of each one, roughly when they'll be back and at what stage of rehab they're on?
Sure.
Fantastic. Is it okay to start with Jack Wilshere?
Yeah, Jack's probably still in his boot for another few weeks yet. So, those reports that came out that said he'd had a setback was just stirring, I think, from the media because he's got his foot stuck in a boot. He wouldn't actually be doing anything with it yet. He's just having to wait for the surgery the recovery process of the surgery. So, the ligaments that have been repaired are just slowly but surely, hopefully fixing themselves up, and it won't be for another few weeks before he's out the boot and starting to put some weight and movement through the area. But it's going to be a very similar recovery process to Debussy. So he should be able to come back and be okay. So
what period of the season are we looking to get him back? Around March time, February time?
It's really difficult to say, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it'd be somewhere around mid-February, late February, somewhere like that, before he can start putting his hand up for selection, similar to what Theo was before he hurt his groin, where he was just starting to be able to make the bench and a few little appearances here and there. So there's a big difference between someone starting first team training and then being able to be selected. So I think people get confused a lot of the time where they hear, someone started first team training this week. Oh, well, then they can play. It's not the case. They need to get some match fitness back, depending on what their injury was. So he'll be a little while yet.
So would you say effectively that could be, and I'm only surmising here, that could be Jack Wilshere's season over possibly before we get to see him back to his best?
Before he gets back to his best, I'm not sure. I mean, it depends on the player. We had Aaron Ramsey out for a long time last year and he came back to his best instantly. Giroud's come back really well from his. He'll be back playing a game, no doubt about that. It's just, like you said, is he going to be able to get some games together and get into a run of form? I'm not sure. Hopefully, but we'll definitely see him back playing a game.
That's fair enough. The next player I have on my list is Mesut Ozil. He's got a knee problem. Can you elaborate on this one?
Yeah, so he had a lateral tear of his lateral ligament in his knee. So I think he's back to just about being able to go out and train with the first team squad now, which would probably mean he's still another couple of weeks away from being able to be selected. So hopefully we get him back for the New Year, Christmassy New Year period. Maybe he can sneak in an appearance in that busy period somewhere, which would be perfect to be able to give someone like a Santi Cazorla a bit of a rest in that busy period. If he's back, he shouldn't be too far away. A lot of these guys that will be back around the same time, hopefully.
Because I did see today that there was a bit of a mass hysteria on Twitter about him being back in training, but I remember seeing pictures of him 2 or 3 weeks ago training at Arsenal. So what kind of recovery is he going through? Is that just weight training that he's doing at the moment, or is that rehabilitation to actually get over the injury?
Yeah, so basically, as soon as you immobilise a joint, that's where you've got that rehab process, because The same that Jack Wilshere is going to go through, where his ankles are mobilised. Mesut Ozil had his knee in a brace, and what happens is your brain stops sending signals to the muscles in that area because it's not being used, and you get degeneration of those muscles, which means that they just disappear. So once the injury is gone, the muscles still need to regenerate again. You need to build those muscles back up, because you can imagine what it's going to be like if you just went, well, those muscles aren't conditioned anymore. And if you try to start running around into first team training and playing straight away, yes, the knee injury is not there anymore, but you can imagine what kind of problems you're going to have muscular wise, which is why so many players try to come back from those types of injuries and end up doing soft tissue injuries because of the conditioning and stuff's not quite right. And it's very, very difficult to get right. So they just got to make sure that he's at a level where he's able to go out and train and put in a really good first team training and still pull up really well and not have any niggles in any other areas. So whilst the injury itself probably only took about 6 weeks to actually heal, then there's a process of rebuilding the muscle and strengthening things back up. And then you've got to run back into the legs and get the match fitness back up, which takes time.
We'll draw a line under that one and move on to Laurent Koscielny.
Koscielny's a bit of a tricky one at the moment. He had some tendonitis in his Achilles. One was a little bit worse than the other, and he got back from that, but then he ended up having a little bit of a strain in one of his calves, which is, definitely very much so related to the Achilles problems. The whole talk about surgery and things like that, forget that. He doesn't need surgery for tendonitis, so there's nothing you can do about it other than the problem that we've got for Koscielny is that once he gets over the calf strain and he starts trying to run and get back into that match fitness again, we just have to hope that that tendonitis doesn't flare back up again. Because if it does, he's just going to be struggling throughout the whole season where he doesn't get better until you have an extended rest. And we're not in a position where we can give him an extended rest because we don't have anybody else to play there. So once he gets over this little calf strain that he's got, which should only be another 2 weeks, I would imagine, again, it's just a waiting game. He might go back into first team training and still be another few weeks out because the tendonitis has flared up again. So it's a really, really tricky one, which is why Arsene Wenger said, if Koscielny's not fit, we're going to have to go into the transfer market. It's basically saying, look, we're not sure how he's going to pull up from this latest injury. Is the tendonitis going to flare up again? Is he going to come back and be absolutely fine for the rest of the season? Because that's also a possibility.
To be honest, I think regardless of whether Laurent Koscielny is fit or not, I still think we need another central defender.
Oh, yeah, that's just his way of just playing the game, isn't it? Playing his cards close to his chest and saying, he's hardly going to come out in a press conference and say, yeah, I'm desperate for a centre-back. Well, he's just put 10 million. He's added 10 million to the price of everyone that he goes after. So, of course, he's going to say, maybe we might need one.
There was actually rumours of, is it Tyrone Mings from Ipswich? And I did see a rumour about someone else who they'd agreed to sign in the summer, but their contract had been brought forward sooner.
Sissoko.
Yes,
Newcastle.
That's him.
Bless you.
Yeah. But he's not a central defender, is he? He's more of a defensive midfielder, is he?
He's
just
play
big.
centre half.
He's huge.
He's up and down, isn't he?
He can play 3 different positions. He played in when he played for Toulouse, he played centre back for quite a number of years, months, I should say.
Well, when he plays in midfield, is he more of a box to box? So I must admit, I don't really know about Sissoko.
He's got a hell of an engine on him. He's got a hell of an engine on him, hasn't he?
It's no coincidence that Newcastle's upturn in form has been since he was back in the side. He has also got a temper. Anyone that saw him get sent off a few weeks ago, but he's a hell of an athlete. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What I will say is, as far as that situation goes, is that whilst I think that we'll only get a centre-back in January, we'll have Flamini, Diaby and Arteta potentially not at the club next season. So it wouldn't surprise me if we got a mid-range midfielder in and then go after the big one in the summer.
Kallstrom.
Exactly, yeah. But so I guess if we do end up getting a Sissoko or someone of that ilk now, I hope people don't start losing the plot too much, thinking that we've had to settle for somebody, because I still think that we'll be getting someone. Fingers crossed. Anyway, we'll have to. We're going to lose 3 players.
No matter what happens, people will lose their shit.
Of course they will.
I'll put Cabaye. Cabaye on loan is the one I would put money on, by the way.
It's very weird. I don't know which one of you guys put in the group last night, but we are approaching the January transfer window, and there seems to be absolutely nothing out there in regards to transfer news.
Don't do it. Don't say it.
No, Jace. What would you rather? the pantomime of the transfer market or the infighting and crap that's been going on at the moment.
Yeah.
I know what I'd prefer.
Fair point.
It'd be a welcome relief from the crap that's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
I do agree with you there, but Jesus wept.
Bit like a cup of tea and jam sandwiches at a half-time interval between the infighting.
Let's not talk about that crap. Let's just not talk about it. Let's not spoil a bit of fun.
I know when we do our transfer deadline day special, Jason won't want to be on then.
We'll lose the will to live that night.
Were we even doing one of those this year? We packed up at like 7 o'clock last year.
Because it went really well last year, didn't it? Because we all sat here and said Danny Welbeck was like a terrible signing, so we really pulled the trees up on that one.
I only said that because I didn't want an ex-Man United player at the club. I said as a young Englishman, it's fucking brilliant.
We were all expecting Cavani.
Bless you.
No, we weren't.
We were.
No, we definitely weren't.
No, we really were.
Gimli was after his 14th pint.
Boys.
Yeah.
Let's get something straight. I've got WhatsApp messages between us, okay, where there'd been strong rumours that we were going. Between me and Kris, where we were going big. There were strong rumours that we were going big before the end of the transfer window.
Get him keeping our WhatsApp messages, though. What a creepy sicko.
Oh.
No, they'll be like...
Trust me, boys. I've deleted everything.
Create baby shower, my firstborn.
I just don't know how to delete certain things.
But Newcastle are going to do what they always do to everybody. They only paid Toulouse about 2 million quid for him.
2 and sixpence.
And if we want him in the summer, it's going to be about 14 million. But if we want him now, it's going to be about 18 million, isn't it?
It's going to be
10 in the summer, 14 now.
Exactly. The other way around. 14 is...
It's still a lot of money for someone of that kind of calibre, I think, because he's not... Look, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but if we do get to the summer, if we got him in now and then do get to the summer, I still think we'd be looking at a Schneiderlin-esque type player, which would mean that, if you've got a Schneiderlin there, you're not going to fit Sissoko, Ramsey, Wilshere, Ozil all in the same midfield anyway. So he's going to end up dropping back to more of a second choice sort of bench player anyway. So
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. That's right.
Sorry.
It's a lot of money to spend on 14. Well, yeah, 14 million now, and then potentially going and spending another 25 on a top player in the summer.
I think it is a lot of money, but at the same time, if you look at what I'll pull out the comparison with Ekuli Mangala from Manchester City, who's, although a slightly different position, he's a centre half.
Woeful.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
£35 million worth of shit.
If you look at what Real Madrid paid for Rafa Varane and look at what Manchester City play, okay, yes, it's Manchester City and everyone knows they're a walking checkbook, same with Chelsea. But what I would say with Sissoko is, would people rather us go out and get Flamini back on a free transfer to hold the fort, or would we rather go out and get someone like, I wouldn't be against Sissoko if, like Dom says, we also go big in the summer and go for one of the aforementioned quote-unquote DMs as well.
Everybody's writing Mangala off, okay?
Oh, not writing him off.
No, but everybody is in the press. And
anyone without a brain is, yeah.
But the bottom line is the kid's only been there 6 months. So
he'll come good. He'll come good, but they've paid a lot of money for him. They've paid for potential.
Yeah, but you look at Di Michelis. Di Michelis was rubbish up to a point last season, and all of a sudden he became a top-class centre-half.
He had his haircut, and then he became a top-class centre-half.
Chris, is the one.
I think you can learn a lesson there, mate.
Go on, get out of town.
No Kabaye, if you're listening, Wenger. We don't want him.
No, but he's the one. He's the one that I would keep an eye on, because I said it in the last pod I was on. But PSG want him out. They want rid. He's not getting games, so he wants to play. There's a lot of talk in France that he will be available at a very cut price deal if someone agrees, almost like the Falcao deal. If someone agrees to take him on loan in January, they'll get him for a very cut price. And the talk in France is it could be as low as 7 million, and that would be very Wenger, wouldn't it?
Excuse me for butting in there, Chris, but did I not see something or hear something about Kabaye? Wasn't there a bit of a shitstorm in France surrounding his transfer and how they said that they paid over the odds for him, or they didn't want him and he was bought in and, not needed? Yeah,
he's basically PSG. There was a couple of reasons why they went for him. One of them was that they thought they were going to lose Adrien Rabiot, who we were linked with in the summer, because Roma were very keen on taking him, and he plays the same position. He's only 19, 20, and he's kind of deemed as the future. They also didn't know whether Blaise Matuidi would sign a new contract, because if you remember, in fact, funnily enough, when we were talking about the transfer deadline last time, I think he was one of those that was named about the potential DM. A lot of big clubs were looking at him, but he's now signed a new contract. And the fact that Rabiot has also put pen to paper on a contract, even though he's not getting games, would suggest that there's a likelihood that Cabaye is going to be moving on. And like you say, Newcastle basically saw that cash cow and thought, well, essentially they used Arsenal to up the price. When we went on and said, look, we're not going to pay over, I think it was 10 million we were going in for him for. Yeah. And Newcastle said no. PSG were in that situation where they needed a midfielder. They were running out of time, and as you rightly say, they paid over the odds. The Qatari guys at PSG, financial fair play is not really an issue to them because they seem to find a way around it. I mean, look at the
pay it off, don't they?
They do, yeah. They're essentially, they offset a lot of different things to conform to FFP, much like Manchester City do, really. So there's no object with money with PSG, and from their situation now is that they don't really need Cabaye. He's not really getting games. He's only playing in the sort of the lower end games for PSG, or when they haven't got anyone else, essentially. And the fact that Rabiot signed this new contract is pretty much says his days are numbered. And there's a bit of an attitude problem on Cabaye as well, which, I mean, that's the last thing we need at Arsenal. But I don't know. I mean, look at how well he performed for Newcastle. If you get that Cabaye for 7 million, then I think it's, you bite the hand off. But the downside to signing him is that everyone will go, oh, we've got Cabaye, it's great. He's not a defensive midfielder. So, he's a sit in the middle of the park and spray the ball from side to side. He's not a defensive midfielder. So if people think that he's going to be the one, they might be in for a bit of a shock.
Can I make 2 quick points, Mr. Gimli?
Go for it.
First one, Mangala. You watch. In about 2 seasons' time, he'll leave Man City as a failure, go somewhere else for 10 million and be fantastic. I bet that's what I'll end up doing because I do it all the time. And talking of transfers, you often see these competitions where it goes, oh, if you enter the competition and you win it, you'll get 250 grand and you can give it to your club and your club can buy players. Have you heard of that? It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know who won it?
No.
A Nottingham Forest fan. And you know what Nottingham Forest has had imposed on them?
Transfer ban.
A transfer ban.
It's hilarious, isn't it? It's hilarious.
That's almost as funny as a Man City fan winning it.
The stars, as far as January window, quickly, as far as centre backs go, like Dom said, I'm 100% in the same camp as Dom is. I think centre half is the only thing, if anything, we go for. Yep. If we don't go for somebody who nobody's ever heard of, which is what I fully expect Wenger to do, because I do genuinely think we'll just go out and buy somebody that no one's ever heard of, or he'll be a player that only sad people like me have heard of. Or I think Nastasic, who's just not playing, he's not even playing for City's reserves. He had an injury at the start of the season. He's not got in ahead of, they've got a young lad, is it Dedrick Boyata? So he's not getting games at Man City. And the other one is Winston Reid, who personally, if I had to say, he's 27, he's Premier League ready, he'd be the one I'd go for.
This actually is one of the questions we got off of Twitter from the bearded legend that is John Wiggle Waggle Welsh. Says, did you notice that Swedish Frederick has now changed his name to the Swedish Freddy?
Yes.
So we've got the other Jason now. We've got the Swedish Freddy. Hopefully we're going to get the Danish Freddy as well. Anyway, John Welsh says, which 14-year-old one-legged defender are we going to sign in January, who of course will arrive injured? So I think, John, we've just covered all of that. So there you go.
Haven't we got our eyes on some Polish kid as well who, according to, was it Ollie Holt? Or one of the main journalists said was in London agreeing terms on a contract with Arsenal today.
Well, if it's from Ollie Holt, it's absolute bollocks to start with. Who? This isn't the lad at Sevilla, Kryszkowiak, is it? Is it a youngster?
It could be. I couldn't pronounce his name. Danny, don't even try.
It's some kid. It's some 14-year-old.
If it's a 40, okay. So 3 things.
It's between us and Jimmy Savile.
One, if it's Ollie Holt, it's bollocks. 2, Ollie Holt's a cunt. And 3, if he's 14, he's not ready to play in the Premier League, so it's completely irrelevant.
Ollie Holt could have given us the judges' version of the podcast award, but he didn't. Long-haired prick.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Who would have hair like that? Yeah. What a twat.
Before you twats hijacked my segment,
Dom.
We were talking about injuries, you bunch of wankers.
Yes, the next one is Mikel Arteta, Dom.
You're going to have to edit all that out, Danny. It's all about me.
It's all gone. I've stopped recording. It's all about you, Dom. We'll just have you singing and then pictures of you.
I stopped caring half an hour ago.
And some Domisms.
Good.
But by the way, at a brilliant
Dormitory.
Commentary, yeah.
Dormitory.
Domentry.
Who copyrighted that for you, Dom? Who came up with that?
Yeah, that was Kris. I'll give him the credit for the Domentry.
548 views. That's had more than some of our podcasts. We're all shit. Just let Dom do everything.
Could you give us a little soundbite of your reaction when you scored the goal, Dom? Well,
When
fuck
Ramsey
my
scored
arse
the
and
goal.
call me Sheila.
Call me Shirley.
Shirley.
He did. He banged that in harder than a Stoke fan bangs his sister, though, didn't he? That was unbelievable.
It was something else. It brought water to my eyes. Anyway, get with the programme, dickheads.
All right.
Arteta.
Injuries. Which one have we got? Arteta. He's just old and he's just falling to pieces, basically. I do feel sorry for Arteta. He did start to put a run of form together in a few games there, and I haven't been his biggest fan of the position that he plays. Not as him as a player. I think he's an ultimate professional. I really like the way he goes about it, but I just think physically his body doesn't allow him to play the way that I'm sure he'd like to. So, look, he's just going to struggle. He's just going to end up with a calf strain after calf strain, then it'll be a hamstring, and then it'll be something else. And unfortunately, he can't play 3 games a week. He's a once-a-week player now, and that's about all he's going to be.
Hey, Dom, if he was a chocolate bar, he'd be a flake.
Oh, he would be.
Talking about the other Jason, he's just sent a really important question to you, Dom. Jason Schrader, who is at Colonial Cannon, says, should we defend better?
You should also shoot more.
We should shoot more.
Well, I think the answer to that question has got to be yes.
So we've got Ramsey. Is that where we're up to now?
No, Monreal.
Monreal. I'm not really too sure what's going on with Monreal. Is it a foot?
Yeah, it says on the Arsenal
Oh, that's right,
website.
because he had a bit of a niggle somewhere, and I remember he was running back in a game and got a kick. Look, that's probably just a little bit of ligament damage or a bit of bruising or something in his ankle, so I really don't think that's going to be anything too serious or anything to worry about. He'll be back helping out during the busy Christmas period. He'll probably miss this week, I would imagine, and probably be available after that, which is good news to have some defenders back.
Yep, definitely so. We're firing through these relatively quickly. The next one's pretty self-explanatory. Aaron Ramsey hamstring. That's what I'm guessing 3 to 6.
I'd say 2 to 3. He came off at half-time in that Galatasaray game. I don't think they thought it was as bad as what it was once they got the scan results. So I think it'll be 2 to 3. It's probably a bit more of a strain than anything. Hopefully, the problem being though is that he's had a little bit of hamstring problems throughout this season. So he needs to be able to get back and get some games together. It's usually the first, after coming back from a soft tissue injury, it's usually the first 3 games. After that, you're usually pretty safe. So just keep an eye on him to make sure that he gets through the next 2 or 3 after coming back.
Will do, boss. Next one, Theo Walcott, and that's a groin. Very much the same problem as Danny has.
Ouch.
Yes, too much internet porn.
Yes.
We were only talking about that this week on WhatsApp, weren't we?
We were indeed.
Theo's
He's gone
had
all Rolf Harris on us again. Fuck off.
You're the one that breathes into the microphone like a sex offender during
All
these
right,
podcasts,
all right.
don't you?
Let's calm this down, fellas. We don't want Watchdog on us.
You want to fight? Stick your head up your ass and fight for air. Theo's groin strain, he got that against England. For England on international duty. So he was only just coming back from his knee reconstruction. That's the problem with those types of injuries, is that once you try to come back from a really long way out, a long time out like he was, that you're always at risk of the soft tissue things and those types of movements and things that your body hasn't been doing for a long time. So unfortunately, he picked that up, which is, again, keeps him out for another few weeks, and he's got to rehab that and come back again. And you just got to hope that the next time he comes back, he doesn't end up with any more little niggles.
I mean, there was talk that he might be back from Liverpool, so am I taking it that that's complete rubbish?
Oh, it'd be a pretty long shot to make it against Liverpool, I think. And if he does, I think it's probably more of a case of chuck him on the bench and hope you only need to use him for a few minutes just in case. But I think ideally that they'd prefer not to.
The next one I've got here is Chamberlain as well, and again, that's another groin.
Yeah, I think it might sound a bit more like a tendinitis type thing perhaps as well, because I know that he had that last year. And young athletes especially, there's a thing called osteitis pubis, and that can flare up. And that's, again, it's probably the best way to explain that one's probably very similar to what Koscielny has in his Achilles. In those groin tendons, it's the same thing. It's more of an inflammation. So if it starts to flare up and become too painful, the only thing that you can do is to rest. So you'd nearly prefer it to be a little bit of a strain or something where it will just heal and it'll be okay. So not exactly sure what's going on with him, but he's got a fitness test on Saturday apparently. So if he gets through that, he should be able to play. I think we'll see him play. I think that they don't really have much of a choice.
No, touch wood, he does. The next two have pretty much been long time doubts. David Ospina is the first one, and that's a thigh injury.
Yeah, he had a thigh injury at the World Cup, and I think he re-aggravated again in one of the games that he came on and played. I think it was the one that Szczesny got sent off. He came on and I think he did it in that game.
Galatasaray Champions League, was it?
Yeah, I think that was the one. So those thigh injuries can be quite difficult, especially with a keeper has to do a lot of explosive movements like jumping and diving, where those muscles get a little bit of a different type of work than what, say, a midfielder will, where they're just more running up and down the pitch and the explosive movements aren't as frequent or have to be as explosive. So, you know, it's the same thing. He's obviously been in training and he's proved that he's fit again. And I mean, sitting on the bench, he should be okay to do so. I'm not sure when he's going to get much of a chance to get too many game time now that Szczesny's back again. But yeah, he should be able to be back on the bench now.
And you'll be pleased to hear this is the final one. And I think this one in particular is a bit of a mystery to everybody. Of course, it's Serge Gnabry. This is a knee problem. He last played last March, wasn't it? If I read it correctly. So what's the issue surrounding Gnabry and why has it been so long to rehabilitate him?
Well, I know that he had some ligament damage early, but I don't think it was a proper anterior cruciate like Theo's was. And generally when you're out for 12 months, it's the anterior cruciate ligament that fully ruptures and you need a full reconstruction to repair it. So, I mean, there are always issues where if you have a bit of a strain or some cartilage damage, or there's so much going on inside the knee joint that trying to rehab the process, you can have those setbacks again. And I'm not too sure. Perhaps they thought just because he is so young that they wanted to make sure that they fully got him right before they chuck him back into first team training and put him in the mix again. But it definitely sounds like there was some issues with him trying to get back to fitness again, because I don't think it was that serious of an injury in comparison to what it could have been. So there's not really any reason that he should have been out for so long that I can see.
And that takes us to all the players, Dom. Thank you so much for that. I know that our listeners absolutely love hearing you talk about injuries. And there is no better person for it. Of course, I think I've said on this podcast before, you successfully diagnosed Danny's wanker's cramp from 12,000 miles away. You not only diagnosed it, but you treated it and you told him the exercise to get it better. I mean, Danny, how's that working out for you?
I've got pussy problems as we speak. Betty, she's all wet. I've got a big black wet pussy and she's jumping all over my desk and my trousers. Betty, you need to fuck off, I'm busy.
Lovely stuff.
She's having none of it.
Mute your microphone.
Jim?
Yes.
Quick update for you. Christian Bielik is the man in question. This Polish lad.
He's hijacked the segment again.
Sorry.
Look at him go.
I love
the sound of his own voice.
I had to look it up
last time. Can we just move on?
Shut
I'm bored.
up, Davis. Listeners need to know. He's 16.
They can read.
He's 16, but he's made his full debut for Legia Warsaw. Actually, weirdly, remember seeing him once, but that was once earlier on in the season.
Was he naked?
Yes, and covered in peanut butter. He's already been touted as, quote, the next Patrick Vieira, so no pressure.
No. That brings us to our final topic of tonight, which sees us focus on the life and times of Thierry Henry. As many of you know, he finally hung up his boots this week, and we thought it fitting we pay a tribute. Danny and Kris, I understand one of you has got Thierry Henry's career in stats.
Yeah, I'm just having issues with Betty. She won't piss off now she's in front of the screen.
Flick their ear. They soon fuck off.
No, she'll fuck me up. Yeah, his entire career, I was surprised that he hadn't got closer to 1,000 games. This is just playing for Monaco, Juventus, Arsenal, Barcelona, New York Red Bulls, and back with us on loan. 792 games, 360 goals, which is a nice round number. 360 round number. I'm here all week.
unfortunately.
For France, 123 games, 51 goals. I think he is one of their highest appearances, and I think he is actually the highest goal scorer as well for France. But then when you look, Betty, don't you dare! Oh, Chris had this problem last time, misbehaving cats, and. Yeah, what other stuff did you want? Some of the ones that he's with, because I did type it all in the thing, but you didn't see it. Some of the other things that you forget, that he was PFA Player of the Year in 2003, and then again in 2004. PFA Team of the Year, 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06. I mean, has anyone ever done 6 years in a row? The Football Writers Association, Footballer of the Year, 3, 4 and 6. Premier League Top Goal Scorer, 2, 4, 5 and 6. It's just endless, the amount of stuff he go on with. I mean, even when he was at Barcelona, he still managed 49 goals in 121 games. For Arsenal, his complete career was 369 games, 226 goals. His best season for us, 39 goals in 51 games, all competitions. Imagine if we had a player now that could get 39 and 51, and that was the Invincible season, which was...
It wasn't only his goal scoring though. He also the assists are what impressed me. That he's got the leading assist record for the Premier League too. In a season where he had 20 assists, I think he scored 27 or 28 goals that season as well.
A brilliant quote here from him. Actually, it says, "People always see the goals, and for me, strikers are not only about scoring goals."
Well, there you go. I think it is. I'm having a look on the French Wikipedia, and in 02-03, 30 Premier League only, 37 games, 24 goals, 20 assists. And then when we did the double in 04, I mean the Invincibles in 04, he got 8 assists. The next season he got 14, and even his final season with us, where he limped off against PSV, and I was there, and I shouted to him, "Bon voyage, mon friend," because I don't know what the French for friend was. 17 games, 10 goals, 4 assists, and most of that 06-07 season he spent hobbling around. And he wasn't fit, but he carried on playing. And I always remember that when he went off in that game against PSV in the Champions League, he was injured and still hobbled around and didn't want to come off. I say when he went off, when he's finished his career with us, he refused to go off.
So, easy question then to you, Chris. Is he the best the league has ever seen?
It's a hell of a statement, because you've got to put other players
Yes
into...
or no, Chris? Yes or no?
Who asked you? I don't think he's the best of the league has ever seen, because I think a certain man that this podcast is named after...
You could have said yes. This is our fucking tribute to him, and you've gone, nah, there's been better.
No, I think only
Dennis
Bergkamp,
I suppose.
Only Dennis Bergkamp gets the vote for me as far as better. What I will say is that Robbie Savage comparing or saying that Alan Shearer was a better all-round striker than Thierry Henry made me vomit in my own face. I mean, that for me is the ultimate insult, to compare a man who, well, I mean, I don't need to justify it, but we've been very privileged to see some strikers over our period of watching this club, and I just can't think. When myself and Danny were recording the Christmas special the other night, just listening back to some of those clips and talking about some of those games, that some of them that he single-handedly won on his own. The Liverpool game in the unbeaten season is one that really stands out. The goal against the Spuds when he just ran the length of the pitch. I just don't think there's ever been a striker that's been that explosive and that talented. And exactly what Dom said, the amount he set up. You know, this was a guy who had everything in his game. He was good in the air, he was good on the deck. You know, he's even good defending at times. And to play in the side that he played in, and to win what he won. I know some people say, "Oh, well, he left and he went to Barcelona. He's a Judas." I mean, that's bollocks. You know, the guy had a career. He wanted to move on. He wanted a new challenge, and he moved on with dignity, unlike some people ban Percy. So he's definitely one of the greatest. For me, Dennis is still the greatest, but I would have him over everyone else.
And we'll go to you next, Jace. Could you pick out a particular moment out of Thierry Henry's career, a favourite goal or a moment that meant a lot to you?
Yeah. When he was playing for France against Ireland and he handballed the goal in. I pissed myself laughing.
And there I was, not saying Robbie Savage is talking like a cunt because he's Welsh. And I didn't say that. And look what you've gone and done. You've gone and upset all of my relatives, you bastard.
I couldn't give a shit, man. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, okay? All the mix are going bananas, okay? They all want to replay. They didn't want to fucking replay when Robbie Keane, the cunt, did it, did they? They don't want to replay them, so fuck them. No, that was hilarious. The goal against United, that was just magic. The guy was a hell of a player. He's retired. He's not dead. I'm not going to fucking go on too much about him. Good luck.
Okay. Dom, we'll go to you next. Is there a Thierry moment that's meant a lot for you?
Yeah, I think the goal against Leeds when he came back, that made my beans tingle a little bit. That was, well, I don't think there's been a player, in my Arsenal watching lifetime that's given me more joy than what Thierry Henry's done. So, for that, thanks Thierry. But he, like Kris said, he's powerful, he's strong, he's quick, he's intelligent, he was skillful. He had absolutely everything that you would want in a footballer. And yeah, I don't think that there's been a player that's dazzled as much as him. And so I think that I would go as far as saying he's the best in the Premier League. But that goal against Leeds when he came back, just the whole fairy tale of it and the story behind it, and I think that was probably my favourite moment.
You can't really write nights like that, can you?
No, not especially since it was the winner, the 1-0, and against Leeds as well.
Exactly. Dirty Leeds. Danny, do you have a moment that you can pluck from the annals of time?
Oh, I certainly do, and I'm going to ask you this question after because I think you need to be asked. My favourite moment would be that time where I say in the Invincibles pod that we did that he takes the ball, we're at Spurs, he takes it around every single one of their players 3-4 times, into the crowd, around the crowd, into the car park, into Tesco's, up the Seven Sisters Road, back down again, and then takes it onto the pitch and then scores. He had the ball for 2.5 hours without anybody touching him. He was that fucking good. But I wouldn't say he's the greatest Arsenal player to play in the Premier League. I'd have to break it down into different positions. But I would say, like Kris did, it's right up there with Bergkamp, with just someone who is just an absolute joy to watch. So there you go. What do you think, Mr. Gimli? Is he the greatest? Don't say you don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. I mean, we've been really lucky at Arsenal to see just an influx of such great players. However, I mean, you got to look at Bergkamp and Henry at different types of player. Bergkamp was awesome because he did the incredibly tricky stuff and made it look so easy, whereas Thierry Henry could just have you out of your seat and, just his presence on the football pitch, even the way he took a goal. And you see strikers finishing today and every commentator goes, that's Henry-esque, just like Thierry Henry. Danny Welbeck's hat-trick against Galatasaray, everyone was going, oh, just like Henry. When he left, they were some mightily big boots to fill. I think, the biggest boots in recent memory, definitely so.
He's no Cabo Diawara though, is he?
Yeah, but
Christopher Ray.
Let's be honest, okay? Anybody who comes in from the left and scores by just stroking it in, it's Henry-esque. It's become that byword. By the way, it's a shame we tried to fill those boots with two of the biggest cunts ever to play the game.
Talking about Mr. Henry, Joshua Kakalukas, I think I've done my best with that. He asked, pick between Henry and Bergkamp, which one of the two is your favourite and why? I think we've done that. Les Plastic Spam says, favourite Henry goal. I think we've all talked about that. Nicky Wilson says, Henry on Sky Thoughts. Gim?
I think that's going to be fantastic. I enjoyed his punditry at the World Cup. I thought he was absolutely fantastic there. Who's going to be disappointed at seeing Thierry Henry on the television? I know I'm certainly not. And every given opportunity he takes to coat Tottenham fans, he does. So for me, it's brilliant. I'm going to enjoy watching him. I can't wait for next season to see him, as a pundit, and hopefully talking up Arsenal. I mean, because how many times can we tolerate cunts like Michael Owen?
Oh,
well, he's gonna be easier to understand than Jamie Carragher, surely.
Talking about that, Dom, I said first thing he's going to have to do is not do the usual hello, hello to you, and they did do that the whole time. And then I got a WhatsApp message from French John, hello, you cheeky monkey, we all talk like that. He said we can't help it. So I thought, there you go. But that will get a little bit annoying. He needs to, while he's thinking of a word, not just go,
Hey, I just want to hear him turn to Jamie Redknapp and say, hey, Jamie, we won the league at White Hart Lane. Fuck off. Cunt.
He spoke in the interview for Sky Sports as well. When they asked him if Arsenal had been in touch about a coaching role, he did actually say that he wanted to do his coaching badges and not to rule it out at the future. For the future, but I think at this particular time, I just think he wanted to, take a break from the playing side of football, and just commentate it and enjoy it. He's someone for me, I think is going to be in and around football probably for the majority of his lifetime.
Are you reading my questions? Because that was going to be... Well, first of all, let Kris answer on his thoughts of Henry coming to Sky, and then you've just read one of my questions.
He'll hijack... No, don't let Kris answer. He'll hijack it and talk about transfers again.
Yeah, he will do.
Well, when Henry played for Monaco...
Danny,
I promise I won't.
Fucking hell, worry well, okay? Just fucking get it over and done with.
Go on, Kris, get it out.
Says the man who never shuts out. Get it out, Danny. Behave yourself. Nobody needs to see that.
It's 24 seconds already. Get on with it.
Fuck off. God, is he ever sharp? Sky is a good thing. I just realised that's probably where Robbie Savage got his ass in his hand, because didn't he mug him off at the World Cup? When Robbie Savage said something about he did.
Wales have
mug
never
him
been
off.
to a World Cup. What are you on about?
No, Robbie
quarterfinals 1958.
Robbie Savage said to him, that players like Henry don't like it when teams get tight, and Thierry Henry sort of turned to him, smirked, and went, "Well, we did all right." So that was probably why. I think it's a really refreshing thing. I think it's good that people haven't really highlighted the fact that it's a foreign player who's coming on to punditry. I can't think of too many foreign pundits. Zola's done a little bit here and there. Di Mahaman, yeah. I mean, he's practically British now. He's been here for so long, but there's not many. And Thierry Henry is not particularly liked in France. He's got a bit of a reputation for sort of being arrogant and whatnot. So I say that he's obviously
the French
decided
don't
to
like anybody though. They don't like
No,
it.
that's
They
true.
look in the mirror and tell themselves to go fuck themselves. So
that's very, very true. I think it'll be refreshing, and like Jace said, I hate to agree with Jace, obviously, but I think he will bring that bit of balance to the Liverpool heavy punditry that seems to be spreading across the UK airwaves at the moment. And I think he'll bring a new insight. It's a striker. We got two defenders, the most high profile pundits at the moment. And I think he talks a lot of sense. He always comes across well. He's very articulate. He lives and breathes the game. He loves the game. Loves to talk about it, and his passion will come across. And Alan Smith and Thierry Henry in the punditry box is good for me.
Even though Alan Smith winds me up.
I know you don't like him, do you?
Hey, the thing is as well, Thierry Henry is very succinct. He just gets to the point.
Yeah.
Take notes, Kris.
Shut up.
People that are listening, they won't know, but when we do our WhatsApp group and we leave a long message, it's called Doing a Carpenter. It goes on forever. Dom, what's your views on him coming as a commentator?
I'm really excited, to be honest, because I think, a lot's been made of his talent on the pitch, but, there's been a lot that's been said as well about how intelligent the guy is as well and how well-spoken he is. And I think picking his brain when he sees, not just Arsenal games, but any games and the way that teams are playing and, the way things are happening, just to hear what his views are on, a Sergio Aguero or, these types of players that are out and about running around. I think it's going to be really, really interesting.
Definitely so.
Jace, with the little thing, you had your little rant about Wales and the World Cup. You lost 1-0 to Brazil in the next round, and you had the Arsenal legend in goal, Jack Kelsey.
Yeah. John
fucking
Charles,
Pele.
John Charles was kicked out of the quarter-final by the Hungarians in the previous game.
Ray Charles.
Cheeky fucker.
Right, my next question.
Still voted the greatest foreign player ever to play in Italy. That's above the Maradonas and what have you. That's John Charles.
What is he, a league muncher?
By the way, did you read a bit about about Emmanuel Petit? Emmanuel Petit had a right pop at the French Football Federation, saying you should build Thierry Henry a fucking statue, you bastards. None of you fuckers appreciate him,
Bergkamp's getting another statue, isn't he?
Yep, in Holland.
Yeah, he's been voted. Go on.
Or is it the KVNB or the Dutch headquarters?
And the KNVB is actually a word.
Yes.
Yeah, but this time it will be on the ground.
Right.
Right, Kim, now you were asked my question. Yeah, from the person, name cannot be blank, that's their username. In what capacity do you think Henry will return to the club, when and how? Kim, you were talking about that. What was your thoughts? That's the last Twitter question.
It's going to be very difficult to say whether he comes in a coaching role or a managerial role. There's something that's telling me he's not going to come to Arsenal to manage. I think he will be there in some kind of a coaching capacity. I think it's all just all Arsenal fans think the dream is going to be Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry, manager and assistant. But
And Mark Overmars is the sporting director at Ajax, and look what they've been doing. He's only been there 3 seasons, but Bergkamp and De Boer have won 4 back-to-back titles in Holland.
It's nice to dream, and I'm not here to piss on anyone's cornflakes, but I can't see that it's going to happen.
Yeah, but let's be honest. He hasn't even done his badges yet. Okay.
He's Henri. He doesn't need to do fucking badges. I don't do badges. I am Henri. Kris, answer this question in under 10 seconds.
I'll try.
Impossible.
Fuck no.
Fuck off. Go on then, answer it.
Go on in. When will Henri come back to the club?
Same question. I think he will manage at some point. Not sure whether he'll manage Arsenal. I would say within 5 years he'll be back at the club within some capacity. Probably actually within 3.
Like in life, Jace, you're following Kris. Go.
Very good. Like it. Thank you, Danny.
Loving it.
I didn't mean it to be that fucking... Oh, God, I'm going to get grief over this. That's my Christmas ruined.
Loved
I mean, with a knife in the dark.
I tell you, this really is fiction now, isn't it? Look,
Friction.
Who knows what's going to happen? I couldn't give a monkeys, to be honest with you. Just because he's a great player doesn't mean he'll be a great manager. Leave the guy get on with it. I don't care.
Oh,
don't care.
Go on then,
Don't
Dom.
care.
Wise words, Dom.
I think he'll be a great coach. I think he's got that ability to pass on a lot of his knowledge. A manager, I'm not so sure. I'd like to see him go somewhere else and manage first, and potentially come back to us. You wouldn't want him to tarnish his reputation and stuff by starting a manager role too soon and going to shit.
That's what Arsene Wenger does every week.
Just should say that, Sam, we asked your question about Debuchy playing in Chambers, so I forgot to say it was Sam. Le Prof Adio said, should we keep Ox in the team in midfield? So we've already talked about that. And Soham Samadar says, thoughts on banter clause? Do you see that? The Arsenal Twitter account were going on about banter clause.
No.
Shit, the fucking... Yeah. You've survived it.
You forget I've been drunk for the last 48 hours.
And the other Jeff says, what is the wing speed of an unladen swallow? It was
22.7 miles an hour.
Oh, there you go. That's that sorted. Right, Gim, back to you.
And this pretty much draws us to the end of the podcast.
Whoa, Facebook questions.
What? Oh, Jesus.
He fucking pipes up at the end, there like some little mongrel prick. And then
I never get a chance to ask a question because Danny ignores me every time I tweet one, so I've got one.
Dom, you read out the Facebook questions. Fuck that Welshie over there. You read them out.
I'll make them up. This one's from Dom Nusky from Australia.
Yeah.
And he wants to know
is it Nusky like Husky?
If we played Debuchy, if we played, look at what are you, Davies or Davis?
Is it Davies like rabies?
No, it's pronounced cunt.
Very true.
Do you have to say it with a Welsh accent? Davis.
Davis, that's right. You do.
All right. So if Debuchy's playing centre back, who plays right back? Bellerin or Chambers? Go.
Chambers.
Danny.
Chambers.
Even against Sterling, he's going to get skinned alive.
Just hit him. Just knock him out. Another yellow card, then another, and he's off.
Sterling against Chambers. No.
I suppose if Bellerin plays, Bellerin can just get the ball and he'll probably out-sprint Sterling.
That's what I mean.
Look at who they're playing against. It'll be Lallana down the left, and he's not particularly quick. He's got quick feet, but he's not particularly quick.
Why do we play Chambers as centre half?
They'll play Sterling out. They'll do that. If Chambers plays, they'll put Sterling out there, guaranteed.
Chambers centre half to be shit right back.
We've been going 1 hour 28 minutes, so come on.
All right, that's my question done.
Right, okay. Dave Blackbeard. Who in the pod like sprouts?
Fuck off, dirty cunty miniature cabbages.
I do. I only
fuck sprouts.
I only eat them because they give me awful wind, and I like to.
Hey, Dutch oven.
Yeah.
Dutch oven.
Oh, for God's sake! Highbrow entertainment, boys and girls.
No, seriously, we'll be sat there in bed. It's all nice and quiet. Right, I'm just looking at my Twitter on my phone, and then you'll hear a.
And it's not a kitten.
Sweet. There you go, Dave Blackbeard. That's that question.
Gimli only likes him because it's the only thing he feels mentally superior to.
What a
Someone explain that to him.
Okay.
It's going to be really harsh then. But then I remembered we'd get complaints.
We fucking would.
Right, boys.
I know what you're going to say, you bitch.
Tom Duvenvoorden.
Bless
Okay.
you.
Who do you think would have a greater lure for future young talent on transfers? Arsene Wenger as manager with current training staff, or training staff with Bergkamp and Henry, etc., with a less established manager? Go. Dom.
Yeah.
Dr. Fox.
I have to say the current setup for young talent.
Sweet. Chris.
Yep, same current.
Gim.
Dr. Fox.
Danny.
I'd say the current setup because it's been shown for the last 20 years that's what he does and what he does best.
Okay, cool. Jay Walls, upon their return, who will have a bigger impact, Mesut Ozil or Theo Walcott? Danny.
For the hour that they're both back, I'm going to say Ozil if he's played in the right position.
Right, Gim.
Ozil.
Chris.
Walcott, because we got better options.
Dom.
I'm going to have to say Ozil because Sanchez can play out where Theo plays.
I don't care. Right, Ricky Hull.
Don't care.
Don't care.
I love Andy Tate. It was Andy Tate's birthday this week as well. Happy birthday, Andy Tate.
I doubt he cares.
You
No, he
dirty
listens.
manx bastard.
He does care.
He does. Yeah, I think he does. Poor bugger. He's had a hard time. Right, Ricky Hull. Arsenal's forward line has looked good. Arsenal's forward line has looked good lately, mainly due to the infectious work rate of Sanchez, Welbeck, and even Giroud. With Ozil due back within weeks, will his lethargic playing style actually hinder the team? I honestly think he needs to shape up or ship him out. I know. Yeah, I raised an eyebrow at that. Chris,
Ouch.
go.
Definitely not to ship him out. His style suits us absolutely fine. If, Danny, I can hear you saying it from here, he's played in the right position. Stick him in number 10, get pace around him, just give him a free license to roam anywhere across the front line and you'll see the best in him.
Okay, Gim.
I think the Mesut Ozil that comes back in the squad in a month's time will be a completely different player to the player that you saw when he got injured. I think you will start to see Mesut Ozil now he's had a little bit of rest and he's injury free.
Cool. Danny.
Are we talking about Wilshere?
Ozil.
Oh, Ozil. Oh, yeah, I think if Ozil plays in the right position, but he's a little bit like Wilshere. He's like one of Dom's groupies, goes down quicker than a groupie with Rohypnol.
You silly fat wanker.
Yeah. Dom.
I just want to dispel the myth that he's lazy. That's an absolute load of shit because if you look at the running stats after each game, he's either at the top or second as far as total distance covered, not by just Arsenal players, but everybody on the pitch. So he's not lazy at all. Yes, if he's in the right position with Sanchez and Walcott playing, he's going to be very, very, very important.
And I'll add in on that, Ricky. I think when he comes back, he's going to be hungry. I think there's going to be more understanding within the team. So we're going to, people make the runs into good positions for him. I think he's going to come back and do well. Great. Right, Anders Bernahol. So Christmas dinner next week. What are you most looking to stuffing your face with? My guess is Danny won't turn down any Christmas pudding. Danny, do you want to reply to that?
I will be having, because I have my daughter and her mother round for Christmas Day. Well, they're round every fucking day, but yeah, so we're having chicken and gammon from the Godmanchester Butchers. Very nice people. And I will have both of those, roast potatoes, Yorkshire puddings, maybe processed peas if I'm feeling flash, and my own weight in gravy.
Danny, you're doing a carpenter. Gim.
Fuck off.
I heard at Christmas time at Danny's house, he just sellotaped mini cheddars to his naked body to keep him going throughout the day.
Ladies, form an orderly queue.
Tom.
I can't believe we've been doing this 2 years and I'm still fucking single. Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, Danny, you're doing a carpenter. Dom.
What am I looking forward to stuffing my face with on Christmas
Shrimp
Day?
on the barbie.
Minge.
I was just going to say, Danny, is that before I go to my parents to have lunch? Or no, probably, yeah, some seafood.
I think
Hey,
so, probably yes, a minge.
Hey, Dom, did it taste like a prawn?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
If it
Chris.
smells like trout, get the fuck out. If it smells like chicken, keep on licking.
Remember, ginger on top, smelly box.
Steak and ginger, everybody.
And I told
steak.
steak and ginger.
We
he
have
won't
just
listen.
gone. Merry Christmas, everyone. This has
Yeah.
just gone to shit.
Chris. With your festive spirit so high.
Yeah, festive spirit. The only thing I look forward to at Christmas is Boxing Day, so it's fucking over. Hate Christmas. Hate fucking Christmas dinner. Roast. It's just an overrated roast.
Okay, Chris,
it's full of shit.
Chris,
Fuck
you
it.
don't like it. That's all
No.
you have to say.
Fuck Christmas.
I love it.
And I'll be getting monged on Boxing Day. So who
Just
cares?
for a change.
Are you coming up here?
No, flip-flops. I'm flip-flop. Time back in Armandford.
Fucking
Oh.
flip. Any man that wears flip-flops doesn't have the right to an opinion. Other than Dom, because he's in Australia and he's allowed to.
It's the rule over there. They call them thongs.
Right. Mihir Titi Kulkarni.
No.
Are players returning early due to the good work of our medical team, or is it due to extended timelines given out by the club? Dom.
I think it's a combination. I think, people are putting a little bit too much responsibilities of those things into Shad Forsyth, where it's a team effort, that they're not out seeing him until the physios and medical staff have given them the all clear in the first place. So he's definitely looks like he might have done, he's impacted definitely, it's hard to explain, but yeah, it's a whole team effort. So yes, but it's not the team. The club are definitely not giving these players extended injury, lists and things like that, and saying they're going to be out for longer than they are. And the best example of that's Giroud, where they thought that he was going to be out after the Champions League game, but he was fit enough to play, and that's why they didn't put him in. So that dispels that little myth.
Yeah, how dare they not put him in the Champions League squad when he's down to be injured? Terrible, disgraceful. Right, I'm not going to ask anybody that question because they're all imbeciles. Alner Nur
Mohammed. How many fucking more you got? It's 3:15 in the morning.
I'm doing 2, okay?
Now you twats know how I feel.
Yeah, Dom doesn't moan. Do me a favour, Jim. Dom doesn't moan. He's up this time, so shut the fuck up.
Well, he only fucking does it once a month. I'm here every week, you daft prick.
Jace, you're doing a carpenter.
Really?
Get on with
He's
it.
doing a carpenter. Carpenter out.
Alner Nur Mohammed, okay?
Bless you.
Will Arsene Wenger, for fuck's sake.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. It's been another top quality instalment of a Bergkamp Wonderland.
It's gone to shit in a handbasket. No, here we go. Will Arsene Wenger act in the transfer window? And I mean act as in early, not the end of January. Chris?
No. He'll act late. He'll leave it probably to the last week unless there's a deal already been done. And the only thing we'll probably bring in will be one centre-half.
Right, Dom?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Gim?
Yeah, it'll be the last day, and Danny will end up hanging himself on the transfer deadline day special on the 31st.
Oh, sweet. Can we do it on video?
Oh, God.
Danny?
He'll be laying on a beach in Dubai, being tickled by ladyboys. He won't give a fuck.
Sweet. Right, and I'm going to answer that, and I'm going to say he's going to buy all the fucking players, and it's all going to be great. It's all going to be gravy. And the last one, because these moaning twats, so all the other guys, Nikolai, Anoop,
Bless you.
Abdul Ahad Jamed. I do apologise and ask any questions, but these guys are cunts. Like John Campbell asks, do you think the manager will stick with the same team against Liverpool as he did with Newcastle, or will he make changes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Down to injuries, son. Down to injuries. That's all I'm going to say in that.
That's it.
I think he'll make changes.
And Chris Carpenter's asking, should we shoot more?
Yeah.
I tell you what, Danny, I can't believe someone had the front to complain about the way you read out names. The police are on their way to his house for committing murders, multiple murders.
Well, people have
actually, it's not my pronunciation; it's my handwriting. Because my laptop's gone all through the spruce. I had to write them down, and at the end, it's just got a squiggle.
In fairness, some of the places in Wales are harder to pronounce, Gim. So,
and if you listen to other podcasts like me and Chris do, people complain about ours. Alan Davies said on the Tuesday Club one, when Tyre was talking to Ian Wright, who are both gentlemen of darker skin, did you two go out and buy trainers on Black Friday? That's what you're not doing, it?
No. He said, did you talk about trainers?
Yeah.
And Ty said, yes.
And then he said, yeah, and then did you go and buy them on Black Friday? That's what your lot do. And you get the Black Lawyer Society involved. Fucking hell, when we get to that level... Oh, we do with the Welsh. Oh, give up.
We had someone calling us racist for saying about Luis Suarez could turn over a new leaf. We're racist!
I'll tell you what he could do. I'll tell you what Luis Suarez could do. He could eat an apple through a tennis racket.
Hey.
There it is.
Right then, I understand, Danny, you've
Yes.
got something regarding a good friend of the show, Dave Seeger, and the Gunners Pub to read out, haven't you?
Yep, this Sunday at the Gunners Pub, which is just opposite Highbury. You go down, I think down Monsell Road, and then go. I don't know where you go actually. I know where it is. I've been there a few times. You've got Dave Seeger there this Sunday signing copies of his book, Geordie Armstrong on the Wing. You have to buy the book first, I think. And also Arsenal legend who did the double, Eddie Kelly, is going to be there. The season he did the double in 70-71, 34 appearances, and in his career from 69 to 76, 175 games and 13 goals. That's just league stuff. Later went on to play for QPR and Leicester. But
That book is brilliant.
It is. I've got it, and he's done me a cheeky little signature inside. And you can go and listen to the podcast we did of that, which we'll be promoting again. All the football, all the book podcasts again over Christmas, because you lot will be bored because I won't be much out there.
Apparently the guy who did the podcast with him was superb.
Oh, no one can understand a word that he said. So there you go. This Sunday at the Gunners Pub. I don't think they said a time. No, it doesn't say a time. So there you go. This Sunday. In fact, just go in there all day, spend all your money, and tell them we said hello and that you
Buy
said
books,
we sent
buy
you.
beer, get pissed.
That's it. Sounds like a perfect Sunday.
And say a big hello to Una and Andy at the Gunners Pub as well. Lovely, lovely people.
If they're still there. I thought they'd both gone. But they're going, as I've not been there since 1993, I've no idea.
No, fair enough. And Chris, I understand you've got something to read out as well. Is it another Pirates loss since we've been recording this?
No, I just want to reaffirm my hatred for Jason Davies. And the Welsh.
Breathe, Davies, breathe, for fuck's sake. We don't need a death.
Do you know what it's like? It's like listening to the fucking penguin in the background, isn't it?
It's like he's like a little wind-up toy. He just gets
He
going.
is, isn't
and
he?
doesn't
Yeah, a
stop.
little monkey just banging
Oh,
the
get
cymbals.
it.
Anyway, yeah, just a cheap
He's
plug.
done a carpenter.
Shut up. If you let me bloody finish, I wouldn't go on as long as I do. Anyway, cheap plug. Myself and Danny. Danny's been a hero this week, haven't you, Danny?
Oh, yeah.
He lost the will to live editing a podcast that myself, Danny, Andrew from Arsblog, Gunnerholic, and my good pal Gaz, we recorded a Christmas special, which is based around the Invincibles / the 49 unbeaten run, which we recorded last week. Danny has painstakingly edited it together.
4.5 hours.
4.5 hours. He was an absolute trooper. I have listened to it. It does sound really good if you take out the bits I'm talking in. It's a really fun thing to do, and we're going to be putting that out on Christmas Eve, are we not, Danny? Midnight Christmas Eve. So if you're sick of your family, or if you're sick of Christmas like I am before it's even happened, then please do whack yourself onto the Twitter feed.
No, don't whack yourself.
Don't whack
podcast.
yourself. Don't whack yourself.
Whack one off onto
Do
the...
not whack one off to the podcast.
If anybody does whack
Allegedly.
one off to a podcast,
Allegedly.
let us know.
I think, allegedly. I think, Danny, am I right in saying it'll go on all the usual forums, so iTunes, YouTube, and our archive. So,
That's it.
have a listen. We're also going to be releasing the Fresno book review as well.
The other Jeff did.
Which the other Jeff and myself and Danny did as well. That'll be over Christmas. So there's plenty coming up, but
That'll be New Year's Day, I think.
Yes,
Plus,
but
there might
from
be a few radio shows as well when if we can be bothered.
Yeah, the radio show, we're going to be taking, myself and Danny are going to be looking after that for the next couple of weeks, doing various bits and bobs. There will be one this Sunday, even though you're away, Danny, aren't you? I think I'm right in saying.
I'm off to my brother's to wash my arse.
Oh, what a lovely image. There you go.
It's going to be a little bit more organised from now on because we've given Kris the assistant manager job. And so he'll be running it. When I'm not there, he'll be in charge of getting people and getting guests. So you never know, they might be more frequent. But not if it's a 0-0 West Ham away, we won't bother.
No, so
Unless
there will
someone
be
gets murdered.
There will be one this Sunday against Liverpool at Anfield after that game. I'm not 100% sure how soon afterwards, but stay tuned. And as usual, if you use the hashtag ABW Radio, we'll do our best to answer questions. For those of you that haven't listened to it before, there's an open chat forum. There's a box on the side of the YouTube page where you can ask us questions.
And it's all on
live.
webcam.
Basically,
yes.
You can call Kris a cunt in real time.
Cool. Yeah, and I've just spent a whole £10 on an HD webcams, which makes me look even more hideous than I already do.
Oh,
So
but you're worth it.
People have now lost the will to live. Get the fuck on with it.
yeah, but yeah, Christmas Eve, everybody, tune in and obviously, hopefully, you'll enjoy the Invincible special.
Okay.
Yeah, Santa won't be coming after listening to this, honestly. Fuck, you know.
He doesn't stop in Wales.
Every time he's so negative. You just
I know.
oh.
I know.
Right. Let's do some predictions for Liverpool then, boys. I'm going to start you guys off by saying 2-0 Alexis. And let's start with Danny.
I'm going to go 4-2 Giroud.
Kris?
Whew, crikey, that's a big one, Danny.
Thank you very much, sir.
First time you've heard that before.
Never.
I'm going to go 2-2, and
I'm going to go Desmond.
Yeah, I'm going to go Desmond, and I will say Giroud.
What, Lynham?
Scorer.
Yeah.
Desmond Lynham. 2-2 Giroud.
Jace?
4-0.
Get on with it.
4-0 to the Arsenal, Alexis.
Because Liverpool are shit.
And over to you, Cobber.
I'm going to be negative just because I need to get back in the game. I think I'm slipping in this league thing. So I'm going to say 1-1 and Sterling.
I've got Kate here as well, so she can give her prediction while she's live on the show. Kate?
2-1 Arsenal, Sterling.
2-1 Arsenal, Sterling.
Oh, no,
I've got another prediction. We won't be allowed back on air next week after this.
Banned.
Chris was to change his prediction.
Oh, get
Hello.
fucked. Get fucked. Get fucked.
All right.
Still talking?
I get
All right.
25 minutes to say this, though.
Calm down, children. Calm down. I'd like a shout out 1 this week from each of you. Danny.
Santa.
Okay. Dom.
I'm going to give my shout out to the blogging chief behind the Bergkamp Wonderland blogs, the beautiful Canadian man, the other Jeff, who left me a nice little bedtime story the other night to us all, didn't he? We'd had a few little sherbets and he tried to get away with it. Oh, that was good.
He didn't realise you could pre-record a message when you weren't pissed.
Yes, I tried to help him out, but he was already too far gone.
When it comes to being conniving, Dom's the man.
Oh, it's not. That's allegedly. The other Jeff at Hollefrund.
Good luck spelling that.
Yeah, HILLEFREUND.
Whatever.
Fantastic. Jace.
Yeah, Jockman, Dan Jockman, at JOKMANAFC. Top man, good guy. Go follow him. He's all right.
Okay, and Kris.
Yeah, James Johnston, who's at LL Cool James 91.
Good guy.
Really nice guy.
Did you watch his video when he was doing
I did.
that? Yes.
Yes, I did. Yeah, he's a very nice guy. We've had a few interactions the past couple of weeks. He's a top guy. So yeah, big shout to James.
Okay,
He's a
fantastic.
superstar. He's a good guy.
Have you got one, Gim?
Yeah, I was just wishing to say thank you to all the people who sent me lovely birthday messages yesterday. Because I know I probably missed some.
It?
No, I
Actually,
had
I
loads.
sent you one.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I said thank you, and I tweeted you back something horrible.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Something like, put the mince pie down, fatty, or something like that.
I'm no stranger to a mince pie.
No, you know your way around a mince pie
Or
better than
10.
you do a lady.
Oh.
So, that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. And keep it Arsenal. Good night.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas, nilly bitches.
Nadolig Llawen. I tell you what, boys, that was fucking terrible. We are dog shit at times. We really are.
Are you recording?
Hello. Oh, you cunt.
Are you recording, Chris?
Yes, I'm recording, mate.
Okay, go
Oh,
on.
fucking hell. We're going to have to sit here for another 3 minutes now.
Alright.
Oh, fucking brilliant.
I knew that was coming.
3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome.
Hello!
You're all pricks.